It's Friday night, you're starving, and you're about 2 seconds away from hitting that food app button. Pizza feels like the safe move, right? Warm, cheesy, reliable, something the whole family can agree on. But here's the question nobody wants to ask. Are those big-name chains really giving you dinner, or just serving up disappointment in a box? Because here's the truth. Not all pizza is created equal. Some of these so-called household names have quietly turned into grease factories, sodium bombs, and nostalgia traps that leave you with more regret than satisfaction. And yet, people keep lining up, handing over their cash, and convincing themselves, well, it's just pizza, it can't be that bad. Spoiler alert, it can. Over the years, I've heard hundreds of stories. Ex-employees spilling secrets, customers swearing off chains after one bad box, and even lawsuits from food that showed up half raw. And the crazy part? It's always the same handful of chains showing up on those lists. We're talking about places that once promised family dinners, sports night treats, and comfort food memories. But now, they've become punchlines in internet horror stories. So in today's breakdown, we're going to walk through 7 major pizza chains you might want to avoid at all costs, and then finish with 2 surprising underdogs that actually managed to get it right. The ones you can count on for a slice that doesn't taste like regret. Now, before we jump in, I want you to think about this. What's the worst slice of pizza you've ever had from a chain restaurant? The one that made you pause mid-bite and wonder if you just made a terrible mistake. Hold on to that memory, because chances are it's going to show up somewhere in this countdown. And trust me, by the time we're done, you're not just going to know which chains to skip, you'll understand why they keep failing and what that says about the fast food industry in general. It's not just about bad pizza. It's about bad habits that companies build, hoping you won't notice until it's too late. Ready? Let's start with the bargain basement giant that promises hot and ready, but usually delivers more cold and regret. Alright, kicking off this list is Little Caesars, the chain that proudly waves its $5 hot and ready banner like it's a badge of honor. Cheap, fast, no questions asked. Sounds perfect, until you actually open the box. Because what you often find inside doesn't look like dinner. It looks like someone deep-fried a sponge and sprinkled it with plastic shavings. Here's the deal. People love to say, well, it's only $5, what do you expect? And that's exactly the problem. This chain has trained us to lower our expectations so much that we almost accept disappointment as part of the deal. But when the cheese stretches like melted glue, the pepperoni shines with an unnatural chemical gloss, and the crust bends like soggy cardboard, you have to ask yourself, is cheap really worth it? Ex-employees have spilled plenty of secrets online, and the picture isn't pretty. We're talking frozen dough shipped in bulk, sauce that comes in giant plastic bags and gets squeezed into tubs like ketchup packets, and training that boils down to, push this button and don't burn yourself. One worker even joked, if you can use a microwave, you're basically overqualified. Not exactly a confidence booster when you're feeding this stuff to your kids. And then there's the nutrition bomb. One slice of pepperoni pizza from Little Caesars can carry more than 1,000 milligallons of sodium. That's more than some seniors are supposed to eat in an entire meal. And let's be real, who sits down with a $5 pizza and eats just one slice, 2 or 3, and suddenly your blood pressure is waving the white flag? What really blows my mind is how this stuff looks straight out of the oven. Customers complain about boxes so greasy they leave permanent oil stains on tables, clothes, even the backseat of your car. One review literally compared carrying it around to holding a leaky oil change in a cardboard container. Imagine walking into family dinner holding that. Not exactly appetizing. But here's my take. Little Caesars is less about pizza and more about marketing. They've convinced us that convenience and price are enough to cover for food that often tastes like regret. And sure, it fills you up, but so would chewing on a greasy sponge. At some point, we have to stop excusing chains just because they're cheap and start asking, what are we actually putting in our bodies? So here's the question I want to throw to you. Would you feed this to your kids or aging parents knowing what's inside? If the answer is no, then maybe the $5 deal isn't a deal at all. And Little Caesars is just the opening act, because if you thought bargain pizza was bad, wait until you hear about the chain that once ruled the mall food courts, and now feels more like punishment than dinner. Next up at number 6, we've got Sbarro, aka the pizza you only buy when every other food court option has failed you. Let's be honest, nobody plans to eat at Sparrow. You don't walk into a mall thinking, yes, I can't wait for that Sparrow slice. No, it happens when Auntie Anne's runs out of pretzels or Panda Express closes early. It's survival food, not a craving. Think about it. Their slices sit out under buzzing fluorescent lights, sweating on trays like they're doing time. By the time you grab one, the cheese has hardened into a rubber mat, the crust is stiff as cardboard left in the rain, and the sauce is basically tomato-flavored water. If you closed your eyes, you might mistake it for microwaved cafeteria leftovers. And here's where it gets even uglier. Sparrow has filed for bankruptcy multiple times. Once in 2011, then again in 2014. And honestly, it's not hard to see why. Former employees have admitted online that old pizzas get tossed back in the oven, reheated again and again until they looked new. Translation: that fresh slice on your tray could have lived a past life hours ago. Nutritionally, it's no safer than the others. One slice can hit nearly 900 milliliters of sodium. 2 slices and a soda, and you've practically maxed out your salt intake for the entire day. It's the kind of gut punch that doesn't even come with good flavor to make it worth it. Visually, it's a comedy show if it weren't so sad. New York-style slices are supposed to fold, but with Sparrow, they snap in half like drywall, and the grease seeps straight through the paper plate, leaving a polka dot pattern on the table underneath. It's cosplay pizza, dressed up to look the part, but none of the actual substance. But here's the thing, I don't even blame the customers as much as I blame the nostalgia trap. If you grew up going to malls in the 90s or 2000s, chances are you've had a slice from Sparrow. It's part of the memory of walking past video game stores and neon-lit arcades. That nostalgia keeps people coming back, but the food never really earned the loyalty. So here's my perspective. Sparrow isn't pizza. It's a reminder of how low our standards drop when we're desperate. Nobody loves it. At best, people tolerate it. And honestly, when the nicest review you can give is, "It's fine if you're starving," that tells you everything you need to know. But if you thought mall pizza was sad, buckle up. Because the next chain on this list is bigger, greasier, and somehow still clinging to its glory days, despite customers suing them over raw dough. Yep, we're talking about Pizza Hut. Sliding into number 5 is Pizza Hut, and this one hurts a little, because for a lot of us, Pizza Hut used to be special. Friday nights, those iconic red roof restaurants, the feeling that pizza was an event. But what was once a family treat has turned into a greasy relic, and not in a charming way. These days, opening a Pizza Hut box is like unwrapping a science experiment. The oil doesn't just coat the pizza, it soaks through the cardboard, leaving the box itself looking like a crime scene. Pick up a slice, and the cheese doesn't cling to the crust. It slides off in one gloopy sheet, leaving behind soggy dough that's more raw than baked. And people aren't just imagining this. Customers have posted photos of pies that look flat out unfinished, raw dough hiding under toppings, gooey and pale like someone forgot to cook it all the way. One California family even filed a lawsuit after claiming they were served undercooked pizza that made them sick. Imagine paying for dinner only to end up in court. That's not nostalgia. That's negligence. Then there's the infamous stuffed crust pizza. Once a novelty, now a nutritional nightmare. A single slice can pack more fat than an entire fast food burger meal. 2 slices and you're already halfway past your daily sodium limit. And keep in mind, Pizza Hut loves oil. Their pan pizzas are literally baked in pools of grease, so the bottoms crunch more like fried chicken skin than bread. Ex-employees back this up. Some admit that pizzas sit under heat lamps for hours until they smell more like stale French fries than fresh food. One even joked, "We used to say pan pizza wasn't baked, it was deep fried in its own grease." And honestly, after tasting it, I believe them. But here's the frustrating part. People still defend Pizza Hut because of the memories. The nostalgia factor is strong. Birthday parties, dine-in salad bars, book it. Rewards for reading. But nostalgia doesn't make the pizza taste better. What you're getting now isn't comfort food. It's disappointment wrapped in a greasy paper box. My take: Pizza Hut is the definition of a brand that stopped trying because they figured loyalty would carry them forever. but loyalty can only cover so many half-baked pies before people catch on. And if you've ever opened a box to find raw dough or puddles of grease, you know exactly what I mean. So let me ask you, what's the worst Pizza Hut disaster you've had? A box of raw dough? Cheese that slid completely off? Drop it in the comments, because I bet we could build a hall of shame just from those stories. But don't get too comfortable, because the next chain's slogan brags about better ingredients, better pizza. And yet, what they actually deliver is sugar-sweet sauce, gummy dough, and a buttercup that tastes more like melted crayons than garlic. Yep, it's Papa John's time. Alright, coming in at number 4 is Papa John's, the chain that swears by its slogan, better ingredients, better pizza. But if you've ever taken a bite, you know that motto should probably read sweeter sauce, sadder pizza, because instead of savory, tangy tomato flavor, what you usually get is a sauce so sugary it tastes closer to pancake syrup than pizza. The crust doesn't help either. Instead of having that satisfying chew or crisp bite, Papa John's dough is thick, soft, and let's be real, way too close to cake. Add cheese that sometimes congeals into a gummy layer, and the whole thing feels less like dinner and more like dessert with pepperoni glued on top. It's pizza cosplay, pretending to be Italian comfort food while tasting like birthday cake with meat sprinkles. And remember, this is the same company whose founder, John Schnatter, became infamous for offensive remarks and bizarre interviews, including that wild claim where he said he ate 40 pizzas in 30 days and noticed the quality slipping. If the guy who built the brand says it's gone downhill, what hope do the rest of us have? Here's another kicker. The quality isn't even consistent. Some franchises pull pies that are passable, but others rush pizzas through the oven so fast that the inside crust is still raw. Imagine biting into dough that feels half-baked, literally. And then there's the garlic buttercup, which fans treat like liquid gold, but critics know as liquid regret. Dip your slice in it and watch as the oil drips down your arm like melted candle wax. Former employees even admitted it would sometimes sit out for hours until it turned into sludge. Nutritionally, Papa John's is no better than its greasy rivals. A single slice of pepperoni pizza clocks in around 300 calories and close to 800 milligrams of sodium. Add in the butter dip, and you've blown past your daily salt allowance before you've even touched dessert. Your heart's not racing from excitement, it's working overtime to survive. But here's my personal take. Papa John's thrives on marketing more than taste. The slogans, the commercials, the loyalty programs, they're all designed to make you feel like you're getting quality. But once you take a bite, reality sets in. Too sweet, too doughy, too oily. It's a masterclass in overpromising and underdelivering. So let me ask you, what's the worst Papa John's order you've ever had? A doughy crust that bent like cardboard? A sauce so sweet it made you double-check the box? Or maybe that garlic butter cup that looked and tasted like melted crayons? Drop your story in the comments, because I'm pretty sure this chain has caused more pizza heartbreaks than proposals. And if you thought Papa John's was bad, just wait until you hear about the next contender. They spent millions bragging about fixing their recipe back in 2010, but forgot to actually fix the flavor. Yep, at number 3, it's Domino's. The chain that once admitted their pizza tasted like cardboard and promised the world they were changing everything. Back in 2010, they launched that massive "We've Reinvented Ourselves" campaign. New crust, new sauce, new cheese. The ads even showed chefs confessing the old pizza was awful. And for a moment, people believed them. But here's the problem. Just because the commercials changed doesn't mean the pizza really did. To this day, complaints about Domino's sound eerily familiar. Customers say the cheese still stretches like plastic wrap and tastes about as bland. The sauce? Thin, acidic, and more like tomato water than rich marinara. And the crust, especially the thin crust, doesn't crunch. It snaps, like drywall cracking in your hands. It's the kind of texture that makes you wonder if anyone in the kitchen has actually eaten pizza outside of a test lab. And nutritionally, Domino's might be one of the scariest chains on this list. A large specialty pizza can top 3,500 calories. That's more than some people should be eating in a whole day. Sodium? Through the roof. One slice can pack over 700 milliliters, meaning 3 slices and your blood pressure is basically sending postcards saying, "Help me." Then there are the customer horror stories. Online forums are full of people posting photos of flipped-over pizzas, cheese and toppings all clumped in one sad corner, or orders arriving stone cold. One unlucky guy even showed his pizza where all the cheese had completely slid off, leaving nothing but bare, wet crust. It looked less like dinner and more like a failed science experiment. Former employees have also exposed the shortcuts. Pre-shredded cheese stored in giant plastic bags until it clumps together like modeling clay. Ovens cranked up too high to push orders out faster, leaving pies half-burned on one side and doughy on the other. The only thing consistent about Domino's is how inconsistent it is. Here's my take. Domino's biggest accomplishment wasn't improving their pizza, it was improving their marketing. They leaned into self-awareness and made people think they cared about quality. And sure, compared to their old formula, it's slightly better. But let's be honest, that's not saying much. Being less bad doesn't automatically make you good. Domino's isn't the absolute worst pizza chain, and that's kind of the problem. It's not memorably bad or surprisingly good. It's the gray zone of pizza, safe enough to order when nothing else is open, but never satisfying enough to actually crave. It's like the fast food version of homework. You do it, but you don't love it. So let me ask you this. What's the worst Domino's experience you've ever had? Was it the delivery that showed up looking like it had gone through a car crash? Or maybe that flavorless slice that made you think, why did I spend money on this? Drop it in the comments. I guarantee we could fill an entire wall with Domino's disaster stories. And if you think Domino's was disappointing, wait until you hear about the next one. Because at number 2, we've got Blaze Pizza, a trendy, celebrity-backed chain that promised artisanal greatness but usually delivers chaos on a crust. Blaze Pizza, the chain that tried to ride the fast casual wave by letting you build your own pie, Chipotle style. On paper, it sounds amazing. Fresh toppings, artisan vibes, and a chance to craft your dream pizza. In reality, it feels more like a cafeteria line where your dinner gets shoved through a conveyor oven and comes out either burnt to a crisp or half raw in the middle. Customers call it pizza roulette because consistency doesn't exist. One person brags about a perfect crispy crust, while the next posts photos of dough so raw it looks like Play-Doh. Some pies come out blackened on the edges like charcoal briquettes, others collapse into a soggy swamp of watery toppings. And when you're charging people like you're serving gourmet, you can't keep sending out pizzas that look like middle school science projects. Ex-employees have admitted the ovens are rushed, pies pushed through too fast just to keep lines moving. Training basically boils down to shove it in and hope it cooks, which explains why your so-called artisan dinner sometimes feels like it was assembled during a fire drill. Now, Blaze had one big selling point. Its star investor, LeBron James. He hyped the brand like it was the future of pizza. And sure, it worked for a while. But here's the reality. LeBron-level greatness never made it into the food. One viral review nailed it perfectly. I didn't get superstar pizza. I got middle school cafeteria pizza with better lighting. Brutal, but not wrong. Even worse, some locations literally ran out of cheese. Imagine walking into a pizza place and being told the most essential ingredient isn't available. That's like Starbucks running out of coffee or KFC saying they don't have chicken today. It's not just disappointing, it's absurd. Nutritionally, Blaze isn't winning any medals either. A build-your-own with double meat and cheese can easily hit 2,000 calories and overload your sodium limit in one sitting. And since the crust often tastes like stale crackers drowned in grease, you're basically paying premium prices for regret. Here's my perspective. Blaze is proof that hype can't cook your pizza for you. You can market yourself as artisanal all you want, but if customers consistently walk away feeling scammed, the brand's doomed to become another food fad that burned out too quickly. So here's my question for you. Have you ever had a Blaze pizza so bad it made you swear off build-your-own chains forever? Drop your story below. I bet we'll hear tales of raw dough, missing toppings, and ovens that couldn't keep up with the hype. And just when you thought the list couldn't get worse, it's time for number 1, the buffet chain that doesn't just risk your taste buds, but possibly your health. Welcome to Pizza Ranch. Pizza Ranch, Now, buffets are always a gamble. Food sitting under heat lamps, strangers breathing over the trays, ingredients recycled more times than we'd like to imagine. But Pizza Ranch takes all those risks and dials them up to 11. Walk into one of their buffets and what you see isn't a pizza spread. It's a museum of what used to be food. Crusts turn leathery, cheese hardens into a gummy shell, and that infamous mac and cheese pizza? It looks less like dinner and more like something alive, with a clammy yellow film that feels like it might crawl off the tray if you watch too long. And here's where it gets worse. Health inspectors have documented some alarming findings. We're talking food temps dropping below safe levels, mold in soda fountains, dirty prep stations, and kitchen equipment clogged with old food debris. Translation: yesterday's crust might still be hanging around in today's fresh pie. Former employees have also blown the whistle. Some admit managers told them to reheat yesterday's leftovers and put them back on the buffet. One worker flat out said, "If it wasn't green, it went back out." That's not just cutting corners, that's gambling with people's health. And the kicker? Customers online have reported stomach cramps and food poisoning after family nights. One review even read, "The chicken was cold in the middle. 2 hours later, so was I, on the bathroom floor." Nutritionally, it's just as frightening. A single buffet plate with 2 slices of specialty pizza, fried chicken, and a side or two can easily hit 2,500 calories and nearly 5,000 mg of sodium. That's double the daily recommended limit before dessert. And let's be real, at an all-you-can-eat buffet, nobody stops at one plate. Here's my perspective. Pizza Ranch represents the illusion of value. Families line up because it's cheap and endless, but endless doesn't mean quality. It means endless risks, endless chances for food safety to be compromised, endless recycled leftovers, endless regret. It's not all you can eat, it's all you can risk. So, what do we learn from this? Just because something looks like a good deal doesn't mean it is one. Pizza Ranch may fill your plate, but it's also filling your stomach with shortcuts, grease, and maybe worse. If you've ever trusted a buffet and regretted it, you know the feeling. But here's the good news. We're not ending on total despair. Because while these 7 chains will make you question humanity, there are a couple of bright spots out there. 2 underdog chains that actually deliver pizza you won't regret. Let's start with Casey's, the gas station chain that somehow shamed the giants. Yep, you heard that right. Gas station pizza that locals actually love. In the Midwest, Casey's isn't just a pit stop for fuel and coffee, it's a legit pizza destination. Walk into one and you'll smell fresh dough being rolled, sauce that doesn't taste like it came from a plastic bag, and toppings that actually look fresh. Their breakfast pizza is legendary. Eggs, sausage, cheese, even a creamy white sauce that somehow works. And here's the kicker. It's consistently rated better than the big-name chains and blind taste tests. When a slice from a convenience store beats Pizza Hut, you know something's broken in the pizza world. Casey's success isn't just about flavor, though. It's about trust. Small-town communities swear by it because it feels like food made for them, not churned out by a corporate machine. Even health nuts admit it tastes fresher and less processed than the competition. Sure, it's not healthy food, but compared to drowning your plate in Pizza Ranch grease, Casey's feels like a win. Now, let's move to Donato's, a chain born in Columbus, Ohio, that's been quietly building loyalty since 1963. While other chains cut corners to expand, Donato's stuck to consistency, and that's why fans swear by it decades later. Their trademark is edge-to-edge toppings, meaning you don't get that sad ring of empty crust. Every bite counts. Their pepperoni is a star, spicy, crisp, high quality, and they load more than 100 slices on a large pizza. That's not marketing fluff. That's why customers rave that Donato's is the rare chain pizza that actually tastes fresh. The crust is thin but sturdy, the sauce tangy without drowning in sugar, and the cheese, wait for it, actually tastes like real cheese. One foodie summed it up perfectly. Finally, a chain pizza that doesn't taste like it came from a dorm microwave. Even McDonald's once tried to partner with Donato's to make it their national pizza brand. The deal fizzled, but the quality didn't. Neither Casey's nor Donato's are health food, but they don't need to be. What they deliver is honest pizza, fresh tasting, balanced, and made with a little more care than the conveyor belt competitors. And in a sea of greasy shortcuts, that alone makes them worth celebrating. So, what's the lesson here? Great pizza doesn't need billion-dollar ad campaigns or slogans about better ingredients. It needs honesty, consistency, and respect for the customer. Casey's and Donato's prove that even in a niche dominated by giants, doing it right still wins loyalty. So here we are. We've walked through 7 chains that turned pizza night into disappointment and 2 underdogs that actually still care about taste. What's the big takeaway? Simple. Not all pizza is worth your money or your health. The sad truth is that many of the big brands we grew up with decided that nostalgia and marketing would be enough to keep us loyal. They cut corners on ingredients, leaned into grease and sugar, and hoped we wouldn't notice. And for a while, it worked. We kept buying out of habit. But food is personal, and eventually, people started calling out the shortcuts through reviews, photos, and even lawsuits. On the flip side, Casey's and Donato's show us something important. You don't have to reinvent pizza or pretend it's gourmet to succeed. You just have to respect the basics. Dough that tastes fresh, sauce that isn't syrupy, cheese that actually tastes like cheese. Do that consistently, and people will drive out of their way, or even walk into a gas station for a slice. Here's my perspective. Pizza night should never feel like a gamble. It should be about sharing food that brings people together, not settling for whatever's hot and ready. And in a world full of giant chains racing to the bottom, the ones that win our loyalty are the ones that still treat pizza like it matters. So the next time you're craving a slice, ask yourself, am I reaching for comfort or am I just reaching for convenience? Because the difference between the two might be the difference between a dinner you remember and a dinner you regret. Now I want to hear from you. What's the single worst chain pizza experience you've ever had? Was it raw dough, missing cheese, or a grease puddle that ruined your car seat? Drop it in the comments. I'll be reading every one, and I bet together we can build a hall of fame for pizza disasters. And if you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next deep dive into the foods we trust, the foods we should question, and the few hidden gems worth celebrating. Until next time, choose your pizza wisely because not every slice is created equal.